Hello and welcome to my Facebook Live, day 63 of 365 days of Facebook Live. Today's been a very restful day. My neck is still, I woke up and there was like a little twinge in my lower back, like not low back, like thoracic. And it's fine, like, oh, whatever, it's a little twinge there. I'm not gonna do what I did last time and where I felt a little twinge, I'm gonna go to the gym. And I had a portrait revealed today that my client student, she does energy work and she does portraits. And she did one for Ron and I. So she had the reveal for it. So it's a whole awesome thing. I think I will definitely share it. I think I can share the image. It's very sacred. So there's part of me that's kind of like, I don't know if I should, if I should just keep it for the people that I really want to see it. Cause I would love to share it online, but I want to ask her what she thinks. Because I don't know, there's something about it that feels like I want to have it alone with Ron and I, but if not, I will absolutely put it on like I'll show you on the computer screen versus actually just posting it. So I had that, then I had a coaching calls with my clients and I started to feel my neck stiffen up. So that's really annoying. I think I really do need to get an adjustment because I haven't been able to, my stepsister invited me to go out. I've been wanting to do something and I feel like now I can't because I'm just stuck at home, because if I move around without having neck support, it like really is irritating and I'm not like, I can't be fully present because the pain is that annoying. So here we are at the end of the day because I felt a little bit better. And if I don't do this now, I will forget. And that's how my day has been going. So I was like, all right, what do I want to come on here and talk to you about? Because I want to make this intentional, because these 50 days that I said was about to be intentional. So I was like, let me think about one of the things that we talked about a lot inside of Awaken Love and Intimacy with the beautiful woman that joined and that really wanted to deepen their relationship with men, with the masculine, and love and have the love of life that they want. And one of the things that came up, of course, which is going to come up, is your father wounds. It's your father wounds and how our fathers, how they presented themselves when we were children. There's going to be probably a lot of noise right now, just so you know. So our fathers, how they presented themselves when we were under their care, is going to make an impact on how they treat us, is going to make an impact on our own masculine wounds. Because if our fathers were men who didn't have either good boundaries and didn't know how to be a protector and have courage to stand by truth, it teaches us that men will not have our backs and we need to try to protect ourselves from that. Or we ourselves will have that same flaws that we saw growing up. We won't have courage, we won't stand the side of the truth, and we will have weak boundaries. That affects your relationship, because when you meet a man, when you meet men growing up, you won't have those qualities. You won't have those qualities developed because your father didn't have those qualities developed within him. He is the primary example of the masculine. So if you didn't see that growing up, it's going to be difficult for you to embody that on your own as you're just going off in the world. Eventually, once you gain more consciousness and about how certain relationships and certain ways of being haven't been serving you, then you can awaken this part of you. But this is the root part of it. Now, the other part that can happen is if our fathers overstepped our boundaries and didn't give us a place to have a voice. And if we did use our voice, it was seen as disrespectful, disobedient. You got a whooping from it. Weren't validating it. Then it's difficult. Then what you learn growing up is that my voice isn't heard, my authenticity isn't accepted in the world, and it's not safe for me to express that. So then what happens is you start to grow up and then start to believe as you're going off in the world, again, until you become more conscious about it, that your voice isn't accepted, that you have a difficulty being authentic. You have a difficult standing behind your authenticity and then consistently wanting other people to approve of you, right? Versus you having that unapologetic, authentic expression because your father was able to accept your authentic expression, was able to accept your growing body as a woman, right? That's a big, big transition for a father to see his little girl turn into a woman. It's different from a young boy to a man. A woman has developmental qualities that are scary for a father to see, like, and uncomfortable at times too. And to see meaning like, it's like my little princess, my little girl is now a woman. Like there's all these things that goes through a father's mind about that, right? And the sensuality that you develop as a young growing woman. It can be uncomfortable for them. They're not knowing how to deal with it, especially if they have their own woundings with how they've treated women, right? So it's a whole thing. So this was a topic that came up a lot. One of the very first breakthroughs that happened inside of this container, where the girl was like texting me, she's like, I'm crying my eyes out. I'm crying them out. She's like, this is it. This is what I've been wanting. And what happened is that she kept wanting to visualize her partner. And then the image of her father came up over and over again. Every single time she thinks about visualizing her future her future partner, her father would come up. And then, which is very common, as a matter of fact, trigger warning right now. So exit out if you are sensitive when it comes to sexual things and the negative context of it. Then she's even so much so that she thought that maybe there was a violation done to her, which is very common for women to create this, not create this, but because I don't want to say that, to go to that thought, because I've seen a lot of women who have gone to that thought thinking that that's what happened. And it's really, I'm not sure exactly what it stems from, but it very much is so a way to create a disconnection with your father when that never happened, and they have never shown signs to anybody else, and there's no other types of signs to show that there was there. This is not my area of expertise, but this is just my observation and what I've seen with this. Because even I've had those thoughts, and I'm like, that's not true. That never really happened. So going into, okay, so then she thought, I'm like, okay, and me as a coach, I'm very intuitive. I'm very intuitive into thinking about, feeling into what I'm seeing, asking the questions, feeling into, and it's really important for me to say what I'm feeling. And I was like, I think that the reason why you're seeing your father isn't because of that. It's because you are now need to refather yourself. Refather yourself. Father your own inner child. There's a lot of talk about mothering yourself and remothering yourself, which is beautiful. There is a beautiful nurturing aspect to it. But refathering yourself is the one that teaches you need to use your voice. You need to stand strong. You need to hold your boundaries. This is the site. This is the area. This is how we're going to take action. This is where we're going to lead. based on your feminine desires, this is what we are leading to. No. The masculine knows how to say no. Think about the men, most men in your life are very good at saying no. With Ron, when I see him and how he's really good, when there's certain things that it is a no about, he is like, no. And I don't know, it's not even that. That's not the one thing that really shocked me, actually. What really shocked me with him is when he said certain things about asking for a raise. He had no problems asking for a raise. It was unapologetic. And there are certain things, I think that is true. There are certain things where he's like, absolutely not, no way, I'm not doing that. Like, it's just like a hard line in the sand, And I look at him and I'm like, wow, with so much respect with that, like, and admiration. I'm like, that is so cool. When I ask for a raise, my hands are trembling. I'm shaking. I am like, my voice is cracking when I had to ask for a raise. Or if I'm raising, right. Actually, I've never had to ask for a raise. It's really, at least in the context of typical corporate, it's been more about raising my rates and then telling my clients that I'm raising my rates. I'm giving myself a raise, and now I have to communicate that raise, which it used to freak me the fuck out. It still does. It still definitely is an expander for me that I'm like, holy shit. But it really impresses me. There's certain things with Ron, I'm like, wow, he really has this masculine codes in him that it's just like, there's certain things that men have that they are very much easier to be in that embodiment because it is a masculine code. So with your father wounds, when they don't have certain masculine codes in them activated, right? For whatever reason, you receive the codes that your father gave you, that he was born, that he showed you. You inherited those codes. It comes in through your bloodline. It comes in through the epigenetic line. It comes in through nurture as well. You get all of it. And then what happens is when we go through these really heartbreaking experiences, and this is another thing that I've the conversations that have been happening with the women is that they're like, why did I have to have that experience with this man? Why did I have to have this experience with him and feel all this intense emotions with him, which they're talking about a shadow match here. And that can't be for me because there was this other side to them that was like really toxic, weren't choosing them, weren't fully claiming them, giving them wishy-washy, wishy-washy answers, but yeah, wishy-washy in their commitment. That's the right word. And I was going something with this and I lost it. I lost it. Fathers, the codes. Oh, relationships. So why did I have to experience that? And here's the thing. Shadow match relationships are showing you the parts of you that you haven't really looked at, where you actually need to do the work in. The parts of you that you haven't shown love, that you haven't shown support, that you haven't shown validation, and the parts of you that are weak that need to be strengthened. That's all it is. And it comes with the price of a heartache, because most of the time we do not make change until it's that hurtful, until it's that painful, because the way we operate is we want to move away from pain and go into pleasure. That is what the brain is built for. And sometimes it does it in the right ways, and other times it doesn't. So in this case right here, and I feel like I should give context to that. I feel like that was always true. Every single time we felt pain, we would always go to pleasure. But the pleasure, it depends on what pleasure you're seeking. The pleasure could be comfort, familiarity, or it could be expansive. and growth. I think these are the two different pleasures that we can go to. It really depends on how well trained you are into catching your limiting beliefs, into catching the unconscious behaviors, the self-sabotaging behaviors where you're like, oh shit, okay, I see. I don't want to go here because this is actually keeping me still in the either safe path, which sometimes doesn't mean it's necessarily horrible and tragic, but it's just boring because there's no growth and you're kind of half dead in this zone. Or safe in terms of this is a familiar pain that I feel safe with. This is why we stay in these addictive relationships. Therefore, or you can choose your soul-led pleasure, which ironically requires you to break past your comfort zone, which means you have to have courage, which means walking in fear. Taking action in the presence of fear is courage. So these heartbreaking relationships get you to move, because you get to a point where you're like, I can no longer do this anymore. You get to a place of suffering where it's more of like a deep surrender, where you're like, I don't want to suffer anymore. I don't want to suffer anymore. And then we choose different paths to heal ourselves from this suffering, which requires healing your mother and father wounds. Healing your mother and father wounds. Healing your mother and father wounds. Forgiveness. Whew. That forgiveness word, the F-bomb, it's a basic it's not the basic. Well, it's a foundational part of your evolution and of you breaking out of shadow matched relationships and going into soul matched relationships, soulmate, sacred union, the one, right? And when you are awakening, what you are awakening are the parts of you that are wanting, desiring, craving, yearning to break free from programming, from old identities that are not yours, that have been placed on you, from epigenetic things that have been passed down your line, nurturing behaviors that have been passed down your line that you saw, that you don't want to be playing in those energies anymore. You want to be playing in higher frequencies, more in a sovereign frequency, which requires you to create a completely new identity, a new embodiment of the woman you are, a new frequency of masculine and feminine energies that you have to embody. This is what happens when we awaken. There's a new thing. We see what we were doing. It's like being asleep and then waking up, right? That's what awakening means. You've awakened to truth. You were able to see sometimes a hypnosis that we are under as children, not because our parents intentionally put on this hypnosis into us, but more of these attachments that we had to create to survive in the world, to create a bond with our parents. We kind of stay in that hypnosis, and our parents thinking that they're doing the best for us will always pass down what they believe, because what their parents believe was best for them. Like it's generational, or some new stuff that they've created based on their own lived experiences in the world. So this awakening process of you creating a new sovereign path, not creating the path of pain and suffering that has been passed down through your line. You're like, I'm no longer available for that. I'm no longer available for this pain and suffering, is why we get into these relationships, to show us where that pain and suffering is. And it's like, okay, we're no longer doing that. We're going here, which is a lot. It takes a lot. It does. It's not for the faint of heart. And I used to hate it when people would say that, but it really is true, because And I do believe that we all get to choose when we want that. It does take work, effort, facing a lot of things, feeling a lot of things. Sometimes it means a destructive force that comes through that breaks away relationships that are no longer serving you, either for forever or for a short period of time until the energies recalibrate at that higher frequency together. So these are the things that happen. So, okay, where do I want to take this conversation now? So this is why you experience these really heartbreaking relationships, because it's there to teach you something. It's there to show you a space in your life that you were probably asleep in, so that you can be rattled, because that was the frequency that you needed to feel in order to actually be like, whoa, okay, no longer I want this. So what happened? So what were some of the things that I shared with the woman inside? Like, how do you attract your sacred union love? It's that you have to no longer push down all the pain and suffering that gets rattled when these relationships happen, and actually feel the loss, feel the pain, feel the suffering. Feel more of like feeling the sadness, feeling the heartache, not necessarily suffering. I think that's not the right word. Because suffering means that you're attaching the sadness to a story that you are not worthy, like, and believing that story. So there are times when I do this kind of work where I'm feeling the unworthiness, but I'm feeling it, but I'm also not attaching more stories on it. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I feel unworthy. I feel like I feel unworthy. And I just start to, cry and move the energy out of myself by crying and holding myself through the feelings of like sadness that come with the feeling of unworthiness. But when I used to be and I don't suffer when I'm doing that. I'm not suffering by feeling that. I just feel the uncomfortableness of it, but it moves through me because I'm not attaching a story. So with the other one, when you're in a cycle of suffering, is because you're attaching a story to those emotions that are coming up. And it's not just like one story. It's like a multiple of things that keep adding up behind it. Like, like, I'm not lovable. The person's not choosing me. Like, and it goes down this really deep rabbit hole of suffering. Because suffering means you are just staying, at least how I experience that, you are staying in this cycle, and you're saying something outside of me has to change in order for this to change. Therefore, I'm staying in this suffering loop. It's like an addictive feeling to that pain. Because there's like, so doing those types of things, understanding that it was a lesson, even though the lesson can be very painful, and creating a new... Okay, so let me see how I can give this advice so that it makes sense. So feeling it without creating the story, right? This is part of how you break up those shadow matches, because the block down feelings that you're feeling are a match to someone who will create that level of heartbreak in you. So the way to stop having so many multiple heartbreaks and men that do all of these things is by finally letting your inner child actually feel what she didn't allow herself to feel when she was younger, from mother and father and from other circumstances, past relationships, all the way through. And it can be time. It can take time. So once you move that, you now calibrate you have created space for something new to come in. So once you create that space for something new to come in, you call in what you really want. If you want to call in peace, if you want to call in self-love, if you want to call in stronger boundaries, if you want to call in higher standards, because now that you've created space, right after you felt it, usually clarity really comes through right after that. And that clarity is when you're like, okay, what is it now? What is the direction? Where am I going with this? I moved it. And then it's like, usually the answers really come to you. I've noticed if I'm really just feeling it to heal it, the answers come. If I'm suffering in it, there's no, after I keep crying, there's not really much that, after I stop crying, there's not much that really changes because I'm stuck in the loop of suffering. I'm not trying to create freedom through feeling it to healing it, because that's when you feel it to heal it, you're actually alchemizing the energy. So the other thing that you want to do is notice, like, okay, what are the wounds? What were the things that I didn't get from my father? Didn't I not receive from my father? What are the character traits that I don't like from my father? And then create the opposite, or whatever you think you would be the best. If your dad had weak boundaries, okay, now you have to instill strong boundaries in you, knowing that this is something that you have to create yourself. There's a passage in the Sophia Code that I absolutely love, and it says that the dream, and this is just a paraphrase, your dream life, you have those codes built inside of you that need to get awakened. So what you did not receive from your mother and father is exactly what you need to give to yourself now. And this is how you break those shadow matches. This is how you release yourself from these wounds. If not, you will consistently be searching for a man that triggers these, because you're saying, because you haven't, that triggers that, because he reminds you of your mother and father emotionally. And you so deeply are seeking something from mother and father. Therefore, you get a mimic of relationship of that. And the only way that you can heal and move past that is you have to give yourself what your inner child never received. This is the only way. This is part of the foundation of creating a soulmate love. You have to become your own soulmate. You have to become your first true love. You will not find it in somebody else's. This is not how this works with sacred union love. It doesn't work like that, because sacred union love is two sovereign souls coming together. It is not two heartbroken souls coming together. I have never seen a sacred union, a true sacred union, that comes from two people that are heartbroken. It's not how it works. It is not how it works. It is two sovereign souls coming together, two people that are on the path of growth and evolution, desiring to be great man and woman for themselves and for their partner. Okay, that's going to complete today's live. So speaking of that, my soulmate attraction mentorship program, if you are like, I really want to work on this space, and you are serious, like you're so ready to create a trajectory in your life with love that is one of devotion, that is one of healthy and incredible, one that feels like even better than the movies, because you're living it and it's not codependent. Movies share so much codependent shit. Breaking generational curses and timelines and dysfunction of the masculine and feminine, and dysfunction in relationships, all of that. If this is where you are desiring to go in your life, because you really want that sacred union love. It's not just a husband you're looking for, not just any man that you want to marry, not just any man you want to have babies with. You are wanting that feeling in your body where everything is aligned in you, and it feels like God was a part of this. Okay, this is a key thing to knowing about sacred union. It feels like God was a part of it. You are a spiritual woman. You want to have the love of your life. You're done with dealing with men who say that they're spiritual and then just continue to be non-committal, continue to give you bullshit things. And you're like, I don't want that. This is what my soulmate attraction program is for. It's a 6-month mentorship. It is currently $4,000 for 6 months paid in full, or you can do payment plans for 6 months at $677. This rate will go up soon. I'm not sure when. It'll go up to $5,000 for the 6 months. I'm not sure what the payments are, but that will happen soon. So message me if you are interested in this. I have one spot left. And what else? During this time together, you will receive any programs that I share during that time, that I promote, that I launch during that time. I'm creating about 1 to 2 programs a month, right? Maybe like 2 months. Every 2 months I have like a program or so, like 2 to 3 months actually. That sounds more accurate because 1 to 2 programs, that doesn't sound right. About every 3 months I have a new program coming out, which is all about becoming your dream woman. Dream woman. The one. A great woman. An extraordinary woman. So coming up soon, we have Sex Priestess, which is July 27th. After that, we have the Creatrix codes, which, oh my God, I'm so excited about that. That is about the Creatrix energy. That is about your ability to alchemize negative emotion to high emotion, calibrating criticism into desires, alchemizing criticism into desires, calibrating your energetic field of love. We're going to talk about how you birth your desires into the world, how this relates into your creational codes with your partner, with a man, and how you two are in this creational vortex together in life. You have your own creatrix codes within you that you singly birth with your own specific things, and then you have one with your partner. You have this circulating of creation. How you communicate with your partner is either going to be creative or destructive. So these are the codes that we're going to talk about in this program. After that, which is, these two are dark feminine energies. And then the next program after that, which is going to be restoring your relationship with the masculine, men, God, and money. And then after that, it's Money, My Beloved, which I'm really excited about that. And then we start all the way back with Feminine Magic. I believe that's it. I'm not sure if I'm missing one. If I am, I will let you know. And then we also have the Liberated Woman in Relationships, which I'm working on that. I'm like, okay, where do I want to take this program? Because there's a little small tweak in there, and I'm going to let her land when it lands. So, yeah, so that's that. Let me know if you're interested. Message me. This is a 6-month container, so we really need there is an interview process that we go to, which is basically making sure that we are both really a good match for this, that our energies align, because we are going to be spending a lot of time together. So and you get all of these things for free, and any bonus programs that I've created during this time too. So that's what I have to say. I hope you have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.